You know, I always thought the Super Nintendo only had a handful of decent beat-em-ups, games like Final Fight, Turtles in Time, and Battletoads. But once I started digging into the library, I realized there's a ton of greats, not so greats, and underrated brawlers on this system. The criteria for this list is that there must be multiple enemies on screen, and they must get up at least once after you knock them down. Oh, and it can't be an RPG because I don't like reading text. Lots of text. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started with Alien vs. Predator. In this game, you play as a predator hunting aliens in an industrial setting. I don't know, I probably should have started off in the jungle, but whatever. You can punch, kick, and use weapons and invisibility to crush different forms of aliens. The facehuggers and chestbursters can only be hit by using the slide attack, so you better learn that one early. Unfortunately, this is a single-player only game. Also, the sounds are weak and the visuals are drab, but otherwise it's quite satisfying punching those aliens. I like it. Batman Returns. I think this just might be the best Batman game ever made. You battle Penguin's Red Triangle gang by punching, kicking, and slamming them into walls. There's many different and beautiful looking stages that keep me engaged. There aren't any special weapons to pick up like baseball bats or knives or anything, but Batman does have batarangs and acid vials that he can throw. There's also a pretty cool Batmobile driving stage and probably a bat ski boat stage too, but I didn't get that far. Anyway, I love this game. It's great. Battletoads and Double Dragon, the ultimate team. Boy, these two franchises couldn't be any different. One is a gritty street brawler, and the other is a sci-fi brawler. But hey, at least you get to choose from 5 different characters and can use different weapons to crush your enemies with. The graphics are pretty nice to look at, and the sounds and the music are great. Ultimately though, I think I'd rather play a dedicated game of one or the other. I'll give it a like. Battletoads in Battlemaniacs. The sequel to the NES game, or maybe it's a reimagining. Thankfully, this one leans more into the brawling genre than the original. It's 2-player, which is nice, but player 1 is Pimple and player 2 is Rash, so you really can't choose your character. Still, the visuals are amazing, the sounds are great, and the hits are substantial. The stages are a little too long for my short attention span though. Still, this one is a blast to play through. Love it. Bebe's Kids. Oh no, not this one again. This one is so bad that it had its own category on a Super Nintendo beat-em-up tier list. So apparently I'm not the only one who hates this game. First of all, the music loop is about 3 seconds long, and it's like listening to torture. The animation is very weak, and the action, if you could call it that, is slow and boring. Avoid this game unless you're a total masochist. Hate it! Brawl Brothers. This is the second game in the Rushing Beat trilogy that originally appeared in Japan and localized to America. The first game was Rival Turf, and we'll be talking about that one shortly. There are 5 characters to choose from, and it's multiplayer, which is nice. But the enemies are cheap, and they'll gang up on you, causing you to die extraordinarily fast. I do like that you can hit them when they're down, though. The graphics and sounds are nice, but dang, the stages are long. Still, I'll give it a like. Captain America and the Avengers. Here we have a port of the beloved arcade game that apparently most people dislike. There is a 2-player simultaneous option, and you can choose from 4 different characters. The graphics and sounds seem pretty good. Okay, your character says no every time he gets knocked down, and that's kind of annoying, but other than that, they're not bad. One thing that bothers me though is the invincibility time is incredibly short, giving the enemy a chance to gang up on you. Oh, and the enemies get invincibility too, which slows down the gameplay. Besides that though, it's not all that bad of a game, and you know, I like it. Captain Commando. A port of the arcade game from Capcom. This version seems a little lackluster compared to the arcade with some very drab colors. But it is 2-player and all 4 characters are represented with just a few differences from the arcade. One big change though is that there's no robots to control. My favorite was playing as Bebe jumping into a robot. It's like a robot on a robot. But you can't do that in this version, just some basic brawling. And basic is the word for this game. The hits seem a little janky, but then again, so was the original. Anyway, I'll give this one a like, but just barely. Cliffhanger. Based on the movie, this one, I believe, is a hybrid action game with some brawling stages. We start off battling these goons on the side of a freezing cliff wearing a short-sleeved shirt. Aside from the bland-looking graphics, the first crime of this game is that the default buttons are all wrong. Y and B are punch and kick, while A is jump. This makes it much harder to roll your thumb over and jump and attack at the same time. I don't know why they did this. Enemies will unfairly gang up on you, and unless you have a knife, it's not much fun. Dislike. Combatribes, or Combatribes. This one looks like it shares DNA with the Double Dragon series, which makes sense since both games are by Technos. It's a 2-player game with 3 characters to choose from. I find it kind of funny that all the player characters are huge and most of the enemies are 2/3 of his size. That should make it really easy, right? I love the wide variety of enemies and stages, and just look at how colorful this game is. You can pick up enemies and spin them around and then throw them into the crowd. Very satisfying. Love it. Cutthroat Island. Oh man, I really wanted to like this one because of the sword fighting reminded me of the Atari classic arcade game Skull and Crossbones, but the hit detection is dodgy. But hey, at least it has 2 modes, swords or brawler, although in both modes your character has a sword. I don't know, why would you want to punch an enemy if you have a sword? This one is far more cartoony than I would have expected. Honestly, I didn't like the movie, and I didn't like the game either. Dislike. The Death and Return of Superman. In this one, you start off by playing the original Superman, but later in the game you must play as different Supermen throughout the different stages. Which one is the real Superman? I don't know. Gameplay is a little boring, but it's okay. You just punch, throw, or heat vision the same enemies over and over again. You can do a special mega attack where you smash the ground and take out everyone. Yeah, I really should have done that a lot more often. There's also a few flying stages to break up the monotony. Graphics and sounds are pretty nice, but overall, this game is just a bit boring. Still, I like it. Final Fight. This is one of the earliest titles for the Super Nintendo that really wowed me. First of all, let me say that I think this game is pretty good despite the differences from the arcade. The characters are huge and the gameplay is a lot of fun. It's just too bad that it's only a single player game and that Guy was omitted. Oh, and since there's fewer enemies on the screen, tossing one into the crowd just doesn't have the same satisfaction as the original arcade. Still, I like it. Final Fight Guy. Apparently Capcom heard all the complaints about Guy being omitted from the original game and immediately rectified the situation. Now we have all 3 characters to choose from. What? They took out Cody this time? Oh man, I guess they didn't want to totally nullify the original game, huh? They literally just swapped Cody for Guy and sold the same game. Well, if you could even buy it. I understand that this was originally a Blockbuster exclusive. Anyway, just like the original game, it's okay, and I'll give it a like. Final Fight 2. Now this one is a huge improvement. It's 2 players simultaneous, has 3 characters to choose from, has excellent visuals, good sounding and feeling hits, and really great music. The only thing that's curious about this one is the setting. They start out in China and work their way across Europe. Check this out, you can even see Chun-Li here in the background. Capcom really upped their game this time. Love it. Final Fight 3. Capcom does Final Fight 2 one better. This time we're back in the streets of New York and have 4 different characters to choose from. 2-player co-op is back and you can even play with a computer-controlled ally if you're like me who doesn't have any friends. Again, we have the familiar gameplay and fantastic graphics, sounds, and music. My only question is, what is Hagar wearing anyways? Love it. King of Dragons. In this fantasy-style weapons brawler, you can play as an elf, a wizard, a fighter, a cleric, or a dwarf, fighting orcs, dragons, knights, and more orcs. Did I say orcs? Yeah, there's a lot of them. Each character has a different style of magic that can be launched by pressing X. It does decrease your health though. There's also different orbs that pop out occasionally that will rain meteors, cause thunder strikes, or turn enemies into frogs. The music is interesting. It doesn't quite fit the style of the game though. Still, I'll give this one a like. Knights of the Round. This weapons-based brawler has you seeking the Holy Grail as King Arthur, Sir Lancelot, or Sir Percival. Each have different power and speed. What I really love is how Arthur looks like Nigel Terry from the Excalibur movie, so I usually play as him. The sword hits are bone-crunching and feel really great. Not to the enemies, I guess. Visuals are highly detailed and very close to the original. There's even horses you can ride in the game, which adds to the fun. This is one of my all-time favorite brawlers for the Super Nintendo, and I absolutely love it. Last Action Hero. Oh man, this is a poor excuse for a brawling game. For starters, there doesn't appear to be any jump kick attacks. That's a staple of the genre. And the attacks you can perform, punches and kicks, are hard to make contact. The hit detection sucks. This is a terrible game, and I won't even bother to mention the repetitive music and amateurish graphics, even though I just did. Hate it! Legend. Another weapons-based brawler very similar to Knights of the Round. The first thing I notice are how detailed the visuals are. Wow! Check it out, there's even trees that pass you in the foreground. Defeated enemies drop items like gold, food, or magic. If you collect keys, you can open chests in a bonus stage. The sounds are great. I just love that clanking sound when your sword makes contact with the enemies. So satisfying. Music is okay, I guess. It seems a little repetitive. I just discovered this game not long ago, and I think it's a total winner. Love it. Marvel Superheroes: War of the Gems. So this is nothing like the arcade one-on-one fighter. Instead, this is more of a side-scrolling action game with beat-em-up elements to it. There are 5 characters to choose from, and they're all huge and nicely animated. I really like the detailed backgrounds, but not these foreground elements blocking the action. Gameplay is the main issue for me. It's not fun getting knocked down so frequently and then having to wait 2 seconds, an eternity, to get back up again. And since you can't reuse a character when they die, it makes this game overly difficult. So, unfortunately, I did not care for this one. Dislike. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Based on a TV show, I think, this is an easy game for kids. It's 1 player only, but at least you can choose from 5 different Rangers. They all have different weapons in Ranger mode, and there's little difference in their attack power. So just pick your favorite. Gameplay is unlike most beat-em-ups though, because it's on a single plane. Just move left to right, battling your enemies. The second half of the stage is when you turn into the Ranger, and this is my favorite part of the game. This is a pretty fun game for kids, and I like it. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie. This one is based on the movie and gives you 6 different characters to choose from. We also get 2-player co-op this time. Woohoo! Gameplay is unique because now you can jump between 2 different planes. You'll have to do this in order to jump out of the way of cars and motorcycles. To turn into the Ranger, you must collect enough lightning bolts dropped by the enemies. My favorite character is Kimberly, the Pink Ranger, because of her slap attack. Ugh, take that! This is a good one for the kids, I like it. The Ninja Warriors. This is a remake, a sequel, or redo, or whatever you want to call it, of an arcade game by Taito, although this Super Nintendo version is a massive improvement. You can play as one of 3 different robot ninjas on a mission to destroy the evil, Banglar, yeah, sure, whatever. The audio-visual aspects of the game are absolutely fantastic. The animation of the characters is smooth, and there's a ton of different enemies. Controls are responsive, and I love the different attacks that you can perform, especially when you pick up stuff and throw it at the enemies. This is an amazing game, and I just love it. The Peacekeepers. The third of the Rushing Beat trilogy from Japan. In this one we have 4 characters with odd profile pics. Some of them are digitized and some of them are hand-drawn. Okay? If you want music, you first must enable it on the options menu, and I think I know why. It's good, but extremely repetitive. When you get close to death, you become invincible for a little while. That's nice. Also, when you lose a life, you immediately get a chance to select another character. Nice. You can also choose a new character in between stages. Lastly, let me mention that I think the game cheats. There are times when my hits just absolutely do not land. No freaking way. Ugh. Overall though, I think this is a pretty decent game, and I like it. Cheating son of a... The Pirates of Dark Water. This was a cartoon show that ran for a single season in 1991 that somehow got a video game. I guess it wasn't as popular as the creators hoped it would be. We have 3 characters to choose from: Tula, Ren, and Iaz. Ren here looks like he has a broken sword though. Wonder why. The visuals are colorful, but don't have a ton of variety. It's just the same background tiles repeated over and over. The moves are limited to normal and strong with an auto grab. If you press strong, you'll throw the enemies. And the enemies aren't too bright either. The AI really sucks. I guess if you're a fan of the show, you'll like this one, and I'll give it a like. Rival Turf. Okay, so this is the first of the Rushing Beat trilogy from Japan, and it shows. Some of the names crack me up. Jack Flack, Ozzie Nelson, Goro? Okay. Gameplay is kind of dull, and it could have used some more polish. The animation of the characters getting knocked down feels unnatural and mathematical. The moves are limited, just punch, kick, jump kick, and a wrestling move. The music is, how do I explain? Amateurish? Chiptune-y? Annoying? I'm not sure how to describe it. At least the stages are nice to look at and are fairly short. I'll give it a mild like. Separation Anxiety, Venom and SpiderMan. Here's one featuring your favorite neighborhood Spider-Man. Oh, and Venom. He's always got to get shoehorned in, doesn't he? Punch, jump, jump kick, grab with a web, and a special is just about it for your moves. I found the first stage to be long and boring. The visuals are drab, and there's just something about them that makes me feel ill. I think it's due to the mismatch of the pre-rendered backgrounds to the cartoony looking characters. Anyway, I just didn't care for this one. Dislike. Sonic Blastman. A cheesy beat-em-up where you play as a slow-walking cyborg character similar to RoboCop, although he seems much happier. He's got the standard punches, of course, but what I really like are the grabs and the throws. Pick up enemies to spin them around, and throw them into each other one-handed. Visuals are nice and colorful, but the stages are long. It took me nearly 10 minutes to get to the first boss. Also, check out the rotating background here. That's pretty cool. I like this game. It's good. Sonic Blastman 2. Here we have a nice improvement over the original. 3 characters to choose from, and it's co-op this time. Stages are much shorter too, about 2.5 minutes for the first section and 5 minutes to reach the first boss. Guess I'm not the only one who likes the shorter stages. Punches and throws are still satisfying, and we get some super attacks now. This one is just better all around than the original, and I like it. Spawn. This one starts out with a very annoying helicopter chasing you, but it does show off a pretty cool lighting effect. I like the moody music and the visuals here. The character animation is great, and I like the different moves that Spawn can perform. Honestly, I need to spend a little bit more time with this one, but so far it seems like it's really fun. I like it. Spider-Man and Venom, Maximum Carnage. Oh man, another Spider-Man and Venom game. Didn't we just do this? Anyway, this is apparently based on the comic book of the same name and even includes some panels from it. The action is extremely repetitive, but at least it's fast and mildly fun. The stages feel incredibly lifeless and make me feel sick, just like the other game. The sound effects are okay, but I got tired of the punch effect really quick. Sorry, but I dislike this one. Stone Protectors. Another game based off of a failed TV show and toy line. This one appears to be based on trolls with a tall hair. Remember them? The game features 5 different characters, each with a very slow, strong weapon attack and a fast kick attack. If you hold the strong attack, you'll perform a special move. Then there's another special which, I have no idea how I did it. We also have 2-player co-op, or with a computer-controlled buddy. This one's got some nice and colorful graphics, and overall, I like it. Super Double Dragon. This one took me by surprise when I first played it. It's not at all like the original games in terms of graphics, sounds, or even story. You know, I'm not even sure if Marion is mentioned, but it doesn't matter. I still love beating up those thugs. Besides the standard punches and kicks, you also need to learn how to counterattack your enemies. The characters are a little small, but there's lots of great animation to gaze at. I especially love getting new weapons like swords and sticks to attack with. This is a great one. I love it. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4: Turtles in Time. Absolutely one of the greatest beat-em-ups of all time. The bright and cartoony graphics look virtually identical to the Turtles in Time arcade game. However, this one might be just a little bit better because it includes more stages and rearranged bosses. You can play co-op with your friend and choose from all 4 turtles, each with slightly different attributes and special attacks. Honestly, could you imagine a Turtles game where you couldn't choose all 4 of the turtles? It's a little repetitive beating up the same foot soldiers over and over again, though. Fortunately, the game tries to mix things up with different environments and stage designs. Seriously, this is one of the best beat-em-up games I've ever played, and I love it. The Tick. Here's one based on the popular cartoon, which I have never seen. This one cleverly dodges the too repetitive criticism by calling the first stage Night of a Million Zillion Ninjas, but sorry to say that doesn't make it any less boring. You have your standard punches and kicks and a special where one of your friends knocks everyone out. Then there's this bit where a different friend comes out and fights with you back to back. That's pretty cool. Overall though, this one really didn't keep me interested, although check it out if you enjoy the show. Wild Cats. Or if you prefer, Jim Lee's Wild Cats. Apparently Jim is no relation to Stan Lee, but he did work on XMen comics, and then later moved on to create this one. Anyway, the game itself is based on a short-lived cartoon and has 3 playable characters. Here we have some truly great visuals and atmospheric music. Enemies will come right at you, and I find that a bit better than having to chase them around the screen. Unfortunately, the stages are pretty long, and it's easy for me to lose interest. Still, it's a pretty decent game, and I like it. XMen Mutant Apocalypse. Similar to War of the Gems, this is a side-scroller with beat-em-up elements. In fact, both games play practically the same. You can choose 5 different characters again, but Wolverine is always included, naturally. The stage you get depends on the character that you choose. Wolvie here is in this sewage plant, I think. Cyclops is in the jungle, and the rest are attacking a base. Graphics and sounds are nice, but again, it's the gameplay that bugs me. I don't know, it's just not enjoyable as a classic beat-em-up should be. It's not a terrible game or anything, I just personally didn't enjoy it. Dislike. Okay, well that about does it for these Super Nintendo beat-em-ups, but here's a few exclusive Super Famicom standouts. Ghost Chaser Densei. This one has decent graphics, short stages, and lots of enemies. It's also got a nice variety of attacks. Gourmet Sentai Barayarou, a wacky food-based brawler with amazing visuals. I love those tiny little enemies who say "dink" from Spaceballs. Iron Commando. This one is pretty great, but it does get repetitive. I didn't know I was supposed to smash up this car, though. That's cool. Undercover Cops. One of my new favorite brawlers, the visual detail is nothing short of amazing. I love crushing those enemies with the giant stone columns. It's great. Okay, well, there you go. All 38 brawling beat-em-up games for the Super Nintendo. Hopefully I didn't miss any big ones, but if I did, please let me know down in the comments. Until then, thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everyone.